Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on any NFL game only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app and use promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the underdog pick'em in college or NFL and win up to 20 times in one game. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old Fashioned Football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old Fashioned Football.
Welcome to
Hey, what's up? This is Sam.
so many technical difficulties. What's up, everybody? My name is J Mark. You can find me on the X at J Mark Football. You can find us on there at Old Fashioned FB. But before I get started to talk about crazy week one, waiver wires, studs and duds, all that good stuff, got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on Twitter at the Mer Mark. You can call her Miranda if you want to be formal, or just call her Mer. She'll kick your ass in fantasy football anyways. Mer, how you doing today? Now that we got started.
This really just goes in typical Monday fashion for me, how all of this played out here. 20 minutes of trying to get your computer starting. This day has been just complete crap for me.
Well, that's never good to hear.
No, I know. Work was brutal. It's one of those days, makes me question what I do for a living. And I don't have a headache now, but by the end of that, right before here, I was like battling a headache from work. It's been a Monday.
The good news is we've got some whiskey. We've got some football to talk about. And yeah, lots to talk about. Injuries, studs and duds. We're bringing back Sir Throws a Lot, of course.
Yes. When you said that, I was like, oh, yes. Season's back.
Shout out to the chat. Cody says he had that day too. Nick Fortune says, you're the smart one. Cody said, let's go. And Nick is excited it started. Thank y'all for being patient. I don't know what my computer was doing. I have no idea. It just decided to shut off and then take the longest restart in the world. It wasn't even updating. I expected it to be like update percentage.
Which is good that it wasn't. When that thing
Right.
updates, it's like, oh my gosh.
Takes a
We
long
literally
time.
had a conversation while we're sitting here. It's like, is it time? Like, is this a sign that we need to get a new computer? Like, new laptop? Possibly.
Yes, possibly. Fantasy football. We're 1 weekend. Of course, there's one game left. The Bills Jets play tonight. But how'd your teams do? That said it all.
Some good, some bad. I feel like now that I'm in all like, I normally have that. Some good, some bad. Some weeks I have weeks where I'm solid in every league. Now that I'm in so many more leagues, it's like the some good, some bad. It's the same. It's just tripled.
Okay, so one good thing, you survived the guillotine, right?
I
think we've
survived the
discussed that.
guillotine.
But did you lose at the Pirate League?
I needed to check it because I wasn't losing, and then I saw, and I haven't had a chance. This is how my day has been. I haven't had a chance to look at my leagues today at all. And so
While you're looking, shout out to Nick who says,
no, I'm gonna lose.
shout out to Nick who says, when you have a case of the Mondays, an old fashioned is needed. Absolutely. Kathy said, put the new computer on your Christmas list. Thanks, Mom.
Who's gonna buy us a new computer?
And Cody wanted to know, Mom, if you were adopting. Wesley, good evening, and let's go Bills tonight. Wesley, we need your contact information because you won some prizes last week during our prize wheel. So if you could either email me at justin.a.mark@outlook.com or oldfashionedfootball@thesgpn.com, or shoot us a message on the Twitter at oldfashionedfb. But we need your contact information so we can get you your prizes. Do you remember off the top of your head what Wesley won? I can scroll and look. Hang on
Scroll
here.
and look. Let's see who gets to it first.
Scrolling. Let's see who gets to it first. The race is on. Everything is a competition in this house. An Ace Spirits gift card and a Warren Sapp jersey card. So there you go.
That Ace Spirits gift card.
Yeah, $25 gift
That's
card
good.
to get yourself some spirits. Our Mark, all right, here we go. My favorite fantasy football prognosticators, and my mother said, "Go Bills." I think both of them might get their first. I don't want to jinx them, knock on wood, but their first fantasy football victory.
They didn't play each other.
They did not play each other. But yes.
Is my mom beating my dad?
Yes, I believe your mother. We're talking about our family showdown league,
which my cousin
creamed you.
Yeah, it was so bad. I don't think I've taken this bad of a beatdown in fantasy football before. He is the highest team in the league right now, but my team was Travis Kelce, Cooper Kupp, Alvin Kamara, which I knew I drafted him knowing he's suspended, but still, like, I lost, and somebody else was out on my teams. I had 4 of my top players out.
Yeah.
So it was like, I know I'm going to lose this. I'm not. It's fine. It's whatever. Kelce just needs to come back.
I forgot that's all you got to say. I forgot we're also on the X. We're streaming live to the X, to Facebook, our Facebook page, and to YouTube. So if you're just listening to the podcast, youtube.com/@old-fashioned-football, come join us in the chat. Before we keep going, did you have anything else you wanted to discuss? Sorry, I see you looking at your team over there.
Yeah, the Pirate League.
Yeah,
I am winning right now. I will not be after tonight. It depends.
Well, not with that attitude.
I hope that Breece Hall has a really shitty game, and the same with Garrett Wilson. If those two bomb out, then I'm good.
Well, there you go. I mean, last night, a lot of people had Giants players, including somebody I was playing. They had Saquon Barkley, and pretty much all those Giants players shit the bed. Dallas's defense scored something like 35 points. Crazy in fantasy football, not in the actual game, but Dallas beat them 40-0. It was crazy. Anyways, just catching up here. Nick says he was so happy that he dropped Lamar and added Geno Smith because he had more points than Lamar Jackson.
We're not even going to talk about this, Nick.
I wouldn't overreact in week 1.
No. Sorry. You dropping I think you want to stop bringing up the fact that you dropped Lamar. You probably should stop bringing that up.
Maybe not. Maybe don't brag about that.
Maybe not. Week 1.
You know what?
Here's one thing I just want to put out there. It's week 1. You cannot overreact. Like, this is a thing that we see people do. You overreact to what happens. You start trading top players. You maybe drop Lamar Jackson if you haven't already dropped him, Nick. And don't do that. Don't overreact. It's just week 1. A lot of unexpected things happened. So many injuries happened as well. Those are the things you should be reacting to. Whoever got injured, start looking at who do you need to replace them until they're healed.
And Cody pointing out top 5 tight ends this week is hilarious. In a half PPR league, it was Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, Donald Parham, Blake Bell, and TJ Hawkinson. Nobody predicted that.
TJ Hawkinson, you could predict.
Well, yeah, one. He was the 5th.
But the other 4, no.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry.
Yes. Cody says in the Pirate League, he's about to get Jamar Chase. I'm about to get Justin Jefferson.
I am so anxietal over that league right now because I could win. I could not. I don't want to lose my players. I feel like it's such a big thing because I put everybody, Cody and I put everyone out there that you could steal anyone. Nobody's safe. I just don't. I'm not ready to part with anyone on my team.
Well, in case you do part with somebody and you need a drink, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking Willett bourbon. Grab this.
Grab that back there.
We'll talk about this more
Beautiful
later. Can
bottle.
we see it? There we go.
Yep, there you go.
I've had my eye on this bottle for a long time, and now we have this bottle. But yes, it is Willett bourbon.
By the way, Cody pointing out you guys didn't agree on that. You made those rules, just so you know.
Cody, we had a discussion. Don't even.
All right, before we keep going,
Cody, I asked you.
Before we keep going, football is back in full swing with another week of epic games. And who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Nobody's missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code SGP to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. And see DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Also, we're brought to you by Game Time. Look, buying tickets shouldn't be stressful for you. Game Time is a fast way to do it for sports, music, comedy, theater near you, killer deals. None of us have time to plan ahead. We never know what life is going to bring. We never know if we're going to have the funds to travel to a game or to a concert. Well, now you don't have to know that. You can make your last-minute decisions. You can procrastinate like we do. With flash deals and last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Images of seat views, that's my favorite part. No longer getting stuck with that restricted view and not realizing it. Lowest price guaranteed. In fact, if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Get images of your seat, buy tickets in a matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. You don't have to look in the junk or nothing. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay. Had to work that in there real quick before you chewed Cody out too badly. Cody, I was watching your back. Maybe you change which team. You do. My mother pointing out, Cody's in trouble. And he says, we agreed. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I thought it was collaborative. I just made a suggestion after you said all the things we could do. Anyway.
Jamie Hawkinson, it comes through on here as hand pink waving, but I'm going to assume that's just a wave. Hello. Everybody's saying hello to her. Wesley, I see your email just came through. Thank you for that, sir. I'll get in contact with you after this. Should we talk about some injuries?
Let's do it. This list is long. I'm going to start off with Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
Torn Achilles. He's out for the season. That's a brutal injury.
He just can't stay healthy.
No.
It's unfortunate.
And we talked about Gus Bus last episode. I think he might be relevant. We'll see, because they also have Justice Hill and Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
And there's some talk about
he's getting elevated from the practice squad. Now, Jim Harbaugh did say he likes their group, but do they look at Kareem Hunt? Do they maybe think about that trade for Jonathan Taylor? I mean, just depends how much confidence he really has in this group. But it seems like many times we've seen coaches go, yeah, we're really happy with the group we have. And then they trade or bring somebody else in. So I think that's just talk. We'll talk a little bit about those guys later. But the other one, I don't know if this is super relevant, but Broncos tight end Greg Dulcich, there were some people excited about him having an MRI on his leg. Now, Adam Troutman outscored him. Whether that was due to the injury or not, I don't know, but that would be who benefited. If you're really desperate and you need a Broncos tight end, I still wouldn't suggest that, but he's the other guy.
I don't know. We just had 4 tight ends make the top 5 that we weren't expecting. Again,
True.
Week 1, don't overreact. That's what I'm going to say.
Sounds like you were just overreacting.
Well, I'm just stating Facts.
Nick would like to know, how can you not pick up a running back named Justice Hill? It's a good point. It's a good name.
Yes. Colts running back Evan Hull.
Yeah.
He could miss time with the knee injury, and we were talking about.
Sorry, something just hit me. Go on. I have something to add to Evan Hull.
Okay.
Here, but go on.
We were talking about Deion Jackson being the main back for this Colts offense. And now I think with Evan Hull's injury, he had a lot of upside, we thought, like a lot of boom potential, a lot of talent there.
Yeah.
The Colts running game wasn't good in general.
No.
Let's just put that out there.
It'll be, I mean, if Zach Moss plays next week, maybe that'll help. Maybe he'll be better. Otherwise, you just have to wait for Jonathan Taylor to come back. I'm laughing because we even pointed out that some people have called Evan Hull the poor man's CMC, and now he's injured like CMC often is. Granted,
let's knock on some wood here.
Sorry.
We're talking about injuries right now.
You only say that because you have him.
I do. For the first time ever, I was able to get him in a league, and I am thrilled. It's fine. All right. Who else do we got?
Jacoby Myers, who had a big game. We're going to talk about how we kind of oopsed on that, but he's in the concussion protocol. Normally, he doesn't really have a history with concussions that I've seen. Yeah, the tech stuff got me all flustered. Apparently, doesn't really have a concussion history, so that's normally he'll be back by the next game, but just something to monitor. Maybe
look out for Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, who had 0 whopping points. I was high on Hunter Renfrow in this offense, but the Raiders got the job done and won, so that was surprising.
Yes. Do you want to cover Packers stuff? I'll let you.
I don't want to talk about any Packers.
Yeah, I had to deal with you like this is going to be a shit week, and you jinxed my Monday.
You know what? I've seen a lot of things on the socials about how, like, oh, grown men will let a weekend of people playing a game ruin their whole entire week. I've heard the same complaints from people. I'm not going to say females, but people in general about the last Grey's Anatomy episode. So don't get me started on that. I've never talked about
Grey's Anatomy.
Oh,
I've never watched Grey's Anatomy.
I know. Probably because I don't want to watch it because I didn't like that one lady that acted in it. But anyways, yes, Packers running back Aaron Jones, hamstring injury. There's no update on it. He came up limping a little bit after a touchdown, his second of the day. He had a really good week. That was the one good thing is I have him in many fantasy football leagues because I thought he was going to be good. But yeah, we'll just have to monitor that. AJ Dillon did not look good, I didn't think, in his just kind of filling in for him. But at the same time, I think that was towards the end of the game. There wasn't many minutes left. The Bears knew that they were going to be running the ball. So, but anyways,
I'm going to cover some.
One shark. Bears won yesterday, right? Yep. They did.
He was a complete baby. You just turned into this man child.
I ripped my Justin Fields jersey off and said, I'm putting us away.
No, you said something else in that. You said, I'm taking this shit off or like this.
Oh, yeah. I'm taking this shit off. And Ryan's like, don't change the channel. I was like, no, I'm talking about my jersey.
Because the game wasn't over. And he's like, I thought you said I'm turning this shit off. And I'm like, no, I'm watching this. And no, you're walking out of the room, ripping off your jersey.
I'm going to go play with my new
throwing this
drone.
tantrum. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, I've got some other tight ends to talk about.
Yeah,
Travis Kelce, biggest disappointment that he got injured, but it's trending that he's going to play this weekend. He's coming back. I'm having optimism there. He's going to be fine and healthy.
They needed him. That pass game looked like a mess.
Just to throw this out there too, like we were trying to determine last week who was going to get that volume. No, it got spread out. Nobody was like a clear, like.
Well, Kadarius Toney couldn't catch anything. It was, oh my gosh. He couldn't have caught syphilis in a whorehouse. It was bad.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I got. Anyway.
All right. Mark Andrews, there's no update on his injury status either. And I think he should be playing.
Sounds like
week.
He will be. But yeah, Isaiah Likely didn't do well in his stance.
Yeah. One thing, a player I didn't have on my list, I meant to bring up or at least look at his status.
Oh.
Speaking of that Bears-Packers game, Mooney, was he injured? Is he injured?
He did limp off. I think he's going to be fine.
Is he going to be fine? I meant to follow back up on that.
One Sharp Shark, I knew you would like that syphilis line. That's why I threw it out. Cody did the same thing on Saturday for the Husker game. So there you go. Insert name here, 255. I've got Higbee and Juwan Johnson. Which would you drop to pick up Hunter Henry or Hayden Hurst, or neither? It's a good question. It's hard to not panic after week one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd do Higbee, though. I know Juwan didn't have much of a game, but I think Carr's going to get him involved. And we're going to talk about Hunter Henry for our waivers in a little bit here. So,
Yeah, we are.
all right.
I had to look over there because you were saying what the question was, but
oh, you wanted me to read?
It's been a day, people, so I needed to read it. Okay. Anyway,
that's fair. That's fair.
Any other injuries?
Yeah, Austin Eckler.
Yes, this
has an ankle
was
injury.
announced.
Yeah, we just got that before we went live. He's got an ankle injury. They said he's likely not going to practice or expect him on the injury report. They didn't say he'll miss the game, but that's definitely something to monitor. And we're going to talk. We're going to talk. We can't have that. We're going to talk about his backup in a little bit too, because he had the same amount of carries as Austin Eckler and did quite well. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Sorry if y'all are hearing the computer finally catching up with its update. Anyways, should we talk a little studs and duds?
Yeah, I think it's time. It's refreshing to get back to studs and duds, Justin.
It is. It is refreshing. Actually, before we do that, let's talk about a little something else.
All right.
Let's talk about a little whoops, let me get my right screen here. Let's talk about a little bit about Hall of Fame bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea in a Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven plays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets.
We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite football team all season long. With their fantasy pick'em game, you pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they'll go higher or lower on one of their stats, then do what you usually do and spend your Sundays watching the games. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, but you can win real money.
All right, and I threw this out on my Twitter, but I'm going to throw it out here for y'all. And by the way, last time we threw something out on the show, it was David Montgomery anytime touchdown, and hey, that hit. But tonight, get on Underdog right now before this game starts. They have Aaron Rodgers at over half of a yard. It's a promo they're running. I have a feeling he's going to throw for over half of a yard. And then I went big. I put 4 other picks with that, so not Garrett Wilson, but his buddy Allen Lazard over 36.5 receiving yards. His kicker, Greg the Leg, over 1.5 field goals made. And then I think Josh Allen's going to be running for his life, 36.5 rushing yards, take the higher. And I think James Cook is going to be very involved in a messy game because it has been raining there most of the day. They've already, I don't know if they're delaying the game, but they've told people stay in their cars right now due to severe weather. So James Cook over 43.5 yards, a $10 bet on those pick'ems will get you $200.
So watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit of up to $100. Again, that's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN.
Now, back to old-fashioned football.
All right, let me figure out what I'm doing here.
Like, what are you doing?
You couldn't hear that, but he said now back. I muted my computer because of all those updates, but you couldn't hear that. He said now back to old-fashioned football. That was Jim Miller. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Let's talk a little studs and duds.
Yes, I'm going to start us with quarterbacks, and I'm going to take the first quarterback on my list. I'm not going to take him. I'm just going to talk about him, Justin.
Okay.
Cody, I have a feeling you might like this one. Stud Mac Jones. He was projected 15. It feels weird saying that. Projected 15 points. He scored 24.14. That he had a great game.
He did have a really good game. Real quick, we have a question from a listener here. Parker Bledsoe says, would you do this trade? He gives up Saquon and Garrett Wilson for Mike Williams and Justin Jefferson. I would 100%. I guess it depends on your running back depth, but I would 100% try to acquire Justin Jefferson if you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my opinion. I would go ahead and do it if you have the running back depth to get rid of Saquon, because Jefferson's a stud.
He is.
Speaking of another stud, Tua Tagovailoa projected 18, scored 27.14 as he threw for 466 yards.
I loved seeing this.
Yes, 215 of those to Tyreek Hill,
which I also love. Tyreek is
know.
my man.
Excuse me.
Hey, I've been a Tyreek Hill for years.
Yeah, well,
or a Tyreek Hill fan. I haven't been a you know what I'm trying to say.
I don't care how fast he is. He better not be your man. The other one, I don't even want to talk about this one, but Jordan Love was projected 15. He scored 21. Woo, yay. Due to blowing coverages and shit defense by the Bears.
That game was brutal. It was brutal to watch. I'm tired of all the memes. The brief memes I have seen immediately coming out.
Half of them from your uncle.
Yes. It's probably why I've seen so many.
Yeah.
He's just on a roll with it, and I'm just over it.
All right, let's talk about stud running backs.
Yeah. Kick us off.
You're just making me do this because we have our list
to talk about
here. Aaron Jones was a stud, projected 13.8, scored 25.7 with his 2-touchdown performance, and then limped his way to the sideline and had to get worked on the field there. But I'm just kidding. I'm not happy that he got injured. But yeah, he had a stud performance, obviously blew up. And I'm hoping it's not a trend for people playing the Bears this year, but something to keep in mind that the Bears, if your offensive players are going against the Bears, maybe you want to start them.
And here's one that I feel like a lot of people didn't anticipate.
Except old-fashioned football.
Except us. Tyler Algier, projected 8.2, finished with 22.9. He was a stud.
He was. We said all offseason that Bijan might be really good, but Tyler Algier is still there and is still really good.
Yes, and very talented.
Yeah.
And as you can see, hold on one second. I just wanted to compare that to Bijan's performance here. To Bijan's performance here. While you're looking at Bijan's performance, I'm going to talk about the other guy that was a stud running back, and that's Kyron Williams. We'll talk a little bit about his other running back later, or the running back he plays with, shares the backfield, whatever you want to call it later. But oh my goodness, Kyron Williams projected 5.2, scored 17.4. Cam Akers managers have to be so flippin' frustrated. And I am, because I am a Cam Akers manager. Me too.
I was big on Cam Akers, and yeah, it is frustrating.
Bijan 5.6. Was that wrong?
Yeah. He had a receiving stuff. You're looking at his rushing stats there. He had 10 carries for 56 yards, which Algier had
consolidating this.
We have a new tracker here, and I might have made it a little confusing.
Well, no, this is not how I was anticipating this.
Tyler Algier out carried Bijan 15-10.
Okay.
So, why don't you talk about wide receivers?
I thought that number looked a little odd, but here we go. All right. I wasn't going to question you, Justin. Yes.
Well, you do all the time. Talk about your man.
Yes,
Can't
Tyreek
keep up
Hill.
with all your men.
I don't have that many.
Jamal Williams, Tyreek Hill,
Jimmy G.
Not
Not for fantasy relevance, though. He's not
other types of fantasies.
All right. Tyreek Hill, he was projected 16.9, finished with 39 points. Him and Tua.
Yeah.
Just had a great game.
Threw this one in here just for Mr. Fortune. Brandon Ayuk projected 8.5, scored 28.9 in a big game by the 49ers.
And Jacoby Myers, he was projected 8.7, finished with 24.6.
Yeah. Moving on to tight ends. Tight end studs.
We already mentioned
Yeah.
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry projected 5.2, scored 14.1.
And Hayden Hurst, 5.3, ended with 12.6.
And Mr. XFL, I think he was in the 2020 version of the XFL. Donald Parham Jr. projected 2.7, scored 9.6, mainly because of a touchdown. But I do think he's going to be relevant in the red zone.
This group here, though, I don't know how I feel about this group.
Terrible.
Yeah,
You feel terrible.
I feel
about
terrible
them.
about it, and it's just week 1. We'll see. We'll see. We got to have at least 3 weeks of consistent,
Yeah. Again,
to know how things
don't
are
panic
this is
after
week
week
1. But this is some unexpected studs for you.
I know my dad was saying that he might need to drop his defense or find a new defense. I wouldn't panic just after 1 week. He was surprised his kicker got 18 points, though.
Who's his kicker?
Eagles kicker. Had 2 50-yarders and some other field goals in there. But anyways, let's talk about these duds. Nick's going to like this first one, too. Do you want to kick that off?
Yeah, I will. I'll take it.
With the eye roll.
Lamar Jackson had a shitastrophe of a game, and Shitastrophe.
All right.
It was so bad. He was projected 22.8. I'm sure if you had him, you started him, unless you were like Nick Fortune and you dropped him before the week even started. And he finished with 6.56 points.
Yes. And another one, Joe Burrow. If you listen to our start sit on Thursday, I said sit this guy.
Yeah.
That was my sit.
One where I chose not to take our advice. Mostly because
I said it.
It was Pickett or Burrow.
And Pickett outscored him. I would have advised.
He outscored him by 6 points.
I know.
I still felt like I could not go against Burrow in that situation because I didn't have a solid backup.
That's fair. Joe Burrow projected 20.1. He scored 3.18 in a game that I felt like he was going to struggle with.
Dan Jones, originally projected 17.8, only got 4.46. I feel like we saw Daniel Jones.
Yes, this
performing.
Is no longer Dan It is Daniel
After
Jones.
week 1. Again, we can't overreact. Maybe he's still there, but it was a definite Daniel Jones performance.
A historic lowest quarterback rating by a quarterback that played a full game. So that tells you all you need to know for Daniel
Burrow
Jones.
scored less points than him. Burrow scored less than Dan Jones.
True. Running backs to let you down. This one was really interesting. DeAndre Swift of the Eagles projected 10.4, scored 0.8. He had 1 carry, 1 catch for 0 yards, I believe. And this was the Kenny Gainwell show. Kenneth Gainwell was the main running back in that backfield. They bring in DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny in the offseason. Rashad Penny's a healthy scratch. And Swift barely gets to play. Very interesting.
It is. That was another one where I feel like maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. Maybe I don't want to overreact here, but Najee Harris, he was just disappointing to me last year. I decided to give him another chance, and I got him in a couple leagues. He was projected 12.1, and he finished with 4.3. And I don't know how long I'm going to give him before I'm getting rid of him.
Yeah.
I cannot have a repeat of last year.
That was tough. Real quick, and we're going to name some of these names too, but I asked the chat who let your team down this weekend. RD said Kyle Pitts, a shocker, I know. Wesley said Joe Burrow. RD said don't forget T. Higgins. And Kathy says Bears coaches by only giving DJ Moore 2 catches or targets, I think it was. That might have been more on the offensive line and Justin Fields, who blamed his offensive line on the post conference. I've never heard him blame anybody but himself. But he said when we have a lot of pre-snap penalties or holds, it makes it really hard for an NFL team to move the ball down the field. So putting the offensive line a little bit on notice, not sure what that's about. Another dud running back who I had in a league, but I faced him in a league too, so it was okay. Saquon Barkley projected 15, scored 7.8. Again, these are half PPR points that we're throwing out.
Yes, we always give half PPR.
Yeah, I forgot to say that. NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Hey, Cody or Rod, whichever one of you it is, says Saquon. Agreed. Let's talk about the wide receiver duds, a couple of them anyways.
Yeah, let's talk about Tyler Lockett. He was projected 10.6. He only got you 2 points.
Yeah. And RD already mentioned it. T. Higgins projected 11.9, scored 0. Big old goose egg.
That's brutal. You know who else scored 0? Drake London. He was projected 10, got nothing.
On the
Zip.
field for 90% of the snaps.
What is that? Like, what does that mean?
It means exactly what we said. You can't trust the pass catchers in Atlanta because they're going to run the shit out of the football. Cody said it on NASCAR Gambling Podcast. It's Cody, but we're one at this point. Go check out the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, even if you're not a racing fan, because they cashed a bunch of tickets this weekend, and they've been doing that each weekend. So go check them out, give them a listen, and win some money. Let's talk about these disappointing tight ends. Have you ever seen a disappointing tight end?
Kick us off, Justin.
All right, Isaiah Likely filling in for Mark Andrews. He was only projected 7.5. It's all he had to do. And he got 0.9. Just not the same production as Mark Andrews. And we heard all these kind of headlines from people about, Isaiah Likely is going to eat into Mark Andrews' workload so much, but not with that performance.
No, it only goes downhill from here.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you, NASCAR Gambling Podcast, 4 for 4 on their bets this weekend.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
All right.
But like I said, it only goes downhill from here. We go from Isaiah Likely with 0.9 to Dallas Goedert, projected 7.8. He finished with 0.
Ouch. And also Chigozie Okonkwo. How many people at the Fantasy Football
Oh my
Expo?
gosh. So many people were high on him. I didn't buy it.
Yeah, including Sean Stacking the Money Green. Loves Chig. Projected 6.5. He also finished with 0. So that's lovely, is it not?
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say what I think you're gonna say.
What?
That we had a lot of picks.
Oh yeah. I have something.
You have something?
Yeah.
What?
One second here. We just want to tout our correct picks, but we're also going to call out our incorrect picks. So when we're getting ready to do these winners. I clicked again. Sorry. Let's talk about our correct picks. I want to start because I was very passionate about this one. Darnell Mooney was projected 7.6. We said start him because he was going to outperform that, and he got 13.3, almost double.
And we talked about Joe Burrow last week that you should sit him because of that.
She's getting angry. Passions and the
Sorry,
paper.
I slammed my mouse. Because of that matchup with the Bengals and the Browns, it's just going to be a tough game. He was projected 23.8 and he only got 3.18. Like we said, we said he was a sit. I didn't listen to us because I didn't feel like I had a choice.
I didn't listen to us. You gave out the next one too. So why don't you talk about him?
Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah.
He was on our sit list. He only got 1.1.
Yeah, projected 7.1. I think we were both on the same page there that we didn't know how that backfield was going to look. And so don't start. If you don't know your rookie is going to be very involved in that offense right away, like a Bajan, you should sit him.
Wait, the Bajan is crazy because he was a first round draft pick in every league we were in.
And he still got started and he still did okay. He got a receiving touchdown, but that salvaged his day. I mean,
if he hadn't have gotten that touchdown, he would have looked like complete.
Points. Yeah. Rashad White, we said to sit him because we thought the Bucks were going to have to beat you with passing. He was projected 12.7. He got 5.9.
Treylon Burks was also one of our sits. He was projected 8.2 and he only got 3.7.
Well, real quick, speaking of Joe Burrow, Wesley said his backup was Rodgers and didn't want to start him against the Bills. I understand that. I completely get it. Odell Beckham. I mean, we said to sit this guy. He was projected 9. He's old, and he only got 4.7. He was lucky to get that.
I took some flyers on him just in case, but I was calling him old balls Odell. I know. I was like,
because you did it after you called him old balls. Then
I know.
You drafted him anyways.
But because I was just taking a flyer at the end with my little money.
That's fair.
It's okay.
It's not okay. No.
It's fine. Because if he did have any success and I was wrong, whatever.
All right.
But anyway, Kyle Pitts.
Always
Let's talk about Pitts. After last year, Pitts is done for me. He's off my list, but some people.
But he was on our sit list.
Yeah. He was
Not
on our
sh-
sit
not
list.
shit list, but he's on that too. but
He's on
the
the
sit
sit and shit list. 8.8 finished with 5.4.
And then David Njoku, we said to sit him because that Browns game, we just kind of had a feeling it was going to be low scoring.
That Browns game in general.
Yeah. And
I think the Browns players scored a little higher than
they did.
yeah.
They did. Deshaun ended up salvaging his day with a rushing touchdown. Otherwise, he would have had 14, I believe it was. But still, Njoku projected 8.1. We said sit him. He finished with 3.4. We got it.
We called our correct picks, so we have to call ourselves out where we were completely wrong.
I have something for this too.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
All right.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope.
Emotional damage! Where's the therapy button?
How do you fuck that up?
What the hell? What kind of game is this?
Oh. So we
Okay.
we had some that we fucked up. So
I had no idea. I didn't know you were going to do any of this. So
No.
that was great, Justin.
I'll start Cam Akers, which wasn't that bad. He did salvage the day with the touchdown, but without that late touchdown, we would have been screwed. I'm a Cam Akers fan. I thought he was going to do better. Then Kyron Williams comes in and steals the show, sort of. He also didn't do great besides the touchdowns. But anyways, Cam Akers, I said to start him for his 12.3 points. He only got 8.9.
Let's talk about Isaiah Pacheco. We talked about him a lot. We're like, yes, you need to start him. We told so many people you should start him. And he was only projected 10.2. He got 7.4, lower than his projection. Could have been worse.
Yeah.
But still, we were like really high on that. I don't think, like we talked about, the Chiefs in general, even Mahomes, I mean, he did well.
He scored 20 points. That's not well for Mahomes, though.
But not for Mahomes. It's
Right.
not what you expect more than 20 points out of Mahomes, in my opinion.
Yeah. And speaking of Mahomes, he was throwing to guys like Sky Moore, who I said start. I thought that he for sure, we heard all this training camp buzz around him, or maybe you did. Maybe I'll blame you on this one.
You can blame me. It was me.
But yeah, projected 9.2 and he got a whopping 0.04.
Yes. That stings.
Yeah, it stings.
Let's talk about Dalton Schultz too. He was projected 8.2, only got 1.4, and he was on our start list.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson, I said to sit him. He was projected 16.8. He did get you 20.66. Not a lot more, but he did get more than I thought. So
yeah, that's a huge to sit that and have that on your bench.
I know.
This next one's worse. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Was bad. Yeah.
Jacoby Myers, we fucked that one.
How do you fuck that up? It happens.
Projected 8.8 and he got 3 times that, 24.6.
Had a really good game. Played so hard he concussed himself. But yeah, Jimmy G likes throwing the ball to Jacoby Myers, apparently. Outscored Devontae Adams. Which is interesting.
I will say out of all of this, we had a lot more correct than incorrect.
Yeah, we did. And we have 3 more tonight, though. So hopefully it doesn't even out to those are all incorrect. But
again, week 1, a lot of things happened that we didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
And
week 1, I think, is the hardest
to
call.
It's hard.
But
difficult.
And
don't overreact.
Yeah, don't
overreact because
especially don't overreact to this.
This is Jim Miller, former Chicago Bears quarterback, and now it's time for Sir Throws a Lot.
Don't overreact to this, Sir Throws a Lot. Don't think this is going to be a weekly occurrence.
I'm taking it, Justin.
Yeah, take it.
The first Sir Throws a Lot of the 2023 season on Old Fashioned Football. We bring you Mac Jones.
Mac McCorkle. The McCorkle.
McCorkle. God dang it. 316 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Is this going to stay?
No.
Is he going to continue to perform at this level?
No, that's not New England football. You know what it was? His father, Tom Brady, was there, and he said, "Daddy, I want to make you proud."
Was he? We kind of said he's going to
try to impress.
Yes, because of all these conspiracy theories about Tom Brady being the Tom Brady game, and he's actually going to come out of retirement and play one more season for the Patriots.
Yeah,
not happening. I will say, out of all of that, they're going to put him in the Hall of Fame and not make him wait the 4
Yeah,
years.
I saw that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't think the Patriots can win the game throwing the ball 54 times with him. But if he can throw the ball 54 times for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns every game, his Patriots team might be good. They might be pretty good.
Mhm.
Everybody
I-
that's not a Patriots fan, Cody, which Cody says, yes, he can keep that up. But everybody that got tired of the Patriots winning over and over doesn't want that to happen. But with that defense and with Ramondre Stevenson, who didn't have a great game, Zeke fumbled the ball. So just get him out of there and just pound the rock with Ramondre. But this Patriots team could be sneaky good. Dad says, love the Jim Miller lead-ins. Nothing said about the how do you fuck that up and emotional damage guy, though. Didn't like those.
No, because everybody's pissed at us.
Right. Touche. People might be here. Maybe they're just here to hang out, but I think they might be here for some waiver wires.
Yes, we got to talk about waiver wires. Again, don't overreact, but there are some people that I think are worth picking up right now. There was some really good performances on players that are barely rostered.
Yeah. Do you want to kick it off?
We're talking about Mac Jones, so I'm going to talk about Mac Jones again here. He per sleeper, so I'll give both the ESPN because we have some ESPN leagues rostered in 4.9% of leagues, in sleeper only 13%.
Real quick, Wes, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the game. Go Bills. Sorry, he's jumping off to watch the game. He's Bills fan.
We're running over here. Well, we had
We
computer difficulties, so there's that.
Danny jumped in and said she wins. Anyways.
Yes. So again, he got over 24 points, the over 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. If you have Fab, which is I can never remember what Fab stands for, Justin.
Free agency auction
budget. Thank you. Free agency auction budget. I was just gonna say the money you have to spend on your waivers and some leagues.
And the family that's listening, don't panic. We don't have that.
We don't have that in our league, guys. It's all right. Mac Jones, I don't know, because this could be a fluke. It could be just a week 1 fluke. It depends on how bad your backup quarterback situation is, because again, I don't think he's, in my opinion, I don't think he's going to be the starter. Like, or not like the
you don't
starter.
think he's going to be startable.
Startable.
Yeah.
Like over, I don't know, your Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. So if you end up picking him up,
maybe 2%, 2 to 5% of your fab. It depends. And again, like you could have so much. We are in a league where you have $1,000 fab.
Yeah.
Is that pretty standard?
200 is usually, or 100 to 200 is usually the standard. But guillotine leagues, 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's where.
So Mac Jones, if you picked him up, is that a plug and play, or do you stash him and see if he continues this?
Who do they play next week?
Oh, I don't even remember. Cody,
you're gonna ask me this question. I need to know who they play next week.
Cody, who do the Patriots play next week? I'll try to see if I can find it quicker than he can answer.
But I don't know. I kind of
Miami. I just gave up 34 points to the Chargers.
They gave up 34 points. I expected them to do better.
The Dolphins? Oh yeah, I know.
That's hard. So is that a fluke too? Did they just have a shitty defense?
No, hard to say.
I don't know. I would be nervous just starting right away reacting to this.
Yeah, agreed.
Depending on who else you have.
I also want to throw out everybody that we give out on the waivers is rostered under 50%. So
yes, that's what we're bringing you. We're not bringing you obvious ones.
Right. So as much as I wanted to say Anthony Richardson, he's rostered in like 67% of leagues on Sleeper. So I'm going to go with another rookie who he didn't have a great day, but he looked pretty good, I thought, against a strong Ravens defense, and that's CJ Stroud. Only had 10.18 points, but 242 passing yards, 20 rushing yards. He did have a fumble. Rostered in 8% of ESPN leagues, 25% of Sleeper. I wouldn't go crazy on your fab. It's more of a dynasty or like a keeper league pickup. So if you're in a keeper league, like our auction leagues, if CJ Stroud's out there and you got the bench space, I would spend 2 to 3% of your fab because I do think he's going to be good. It was his first game in the NFL. They have a lot of new pieces at Houston, and they played a good Ravens defense. I wouldn't be worried about him, and I would pick him up. I think he's going to be good. So he's a guy that I'm kind of looking at in my keeper leagues. Like if I have the room for him, I'm putting him on my bench.
He's a stash and see.
Yep, for sure. Should we talk about some running backs? All right. I want to talk about this guy because I drafted him in a lot of leagues because I kind of had a feeling. Now, if you listen to the mothership, Sean also said he thought that Kenny Gainwell would have 40% of the carries in that backfield. Well, he ended up having like 80% of the carries in that backfield, only led to 9.4 points, but that was a weird game against the Patriots, who have a good defense. I think if this continues, Kenny Gainwell is going to be a top 15, top 20 around their running back. Led the Eagles, like I said, in carries, 14 carries for 54 yards. Also had 4 receptions for 24 or 20 yards. ESPN 21.5% roster, sleeper 34. This is for me a pickup and plug him in. I think this is going to continue. They're a very good offensive line, a very good rushing attack, and I'm comfortable spending 10 to 15% of my fab. So yeah.
I have one. Someone to watch. I would watch Tyjae Spears.
Yeah.
He only had 3.3 points, but, and here's the but, he outsnapped Henry 34 to 30.
Shocking.
Yes, and he was on the field for every third down. He had 27 rushing yards, 1 reception for 1 yard, but he was targeted 4 times.
Yeah.
He's only rostered in between, depending on what where you have your leagues. ESPN, like around 12%.
Neither one of us can talk.
I can't talk for shit right now. Anyway, around 12%, sleeper 24%. He, for me, is a stash and C.
Yeah.
We talked about him early on in the preseason. I actually asked Victoria Edie Butler about him.
Yeah, Uncle Nearest master blender.
But she is just so on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is their guy. But seeing him be out there every third down, out snapping Henry.
Yeah.
And his points weren't impressive, but I think that this is something to watch because he's out there.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was surprising to see him share as much workload as he did. Like you said, it's a stash and see, but if he's their passing down back and you think the Titans are going to be down in games, that's a good one. When you put him on our list, a little behind baseball, we have a shared doc to kind of keep track. We don't want to be repeating the same things, but when you put him on the list, I was surprised to see he was rostered in less than 30-40% of leagues. So that was interesting. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say fab. I'm around that 5%.
5%. Okay. Another one, this is not one I'm confident on, so I'm going to lead it with saying fab 3-4%, but Kyron Williams of the Rams, poor Cam Akers managers. He had more yards on less carries though. So Cam did get the ball more, but Kyron did more with the ball. 17.4 points. That came from 52 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. He was also targeted twice in the passing game, but he didn't have any catches. He's rostered in 10% or lesser leagues on both platforms. This is a stash and see what this backfield plays out to be. However, the Rams looked kind of good. They look like Matt Stafford is back.
Yes, but I think I'm just going to argue with you here.
All right, argue with me.
Because I think if you only do like your 3% of your fab, because of the points that he got, people are going to overreact to that, and you're not going to get him if you really do want him.
And so that's kind of, for me, that's a reflection of my confidence level. Like if you're confident that Kyron Williams is going to have another 2 touchdowns on top of his 50 yards on less carries than Cam Akers, I say do more. I'm not confident in it though, so that's why I would throw it out there just in case somebody's sleeping on him. And
when he puts up over a player putting out over 15 points is going to be noticed if people are paying attention to the waivers.
It's a good point. Then I would let them spend their
and there's a lot of disappointed Cam Akers people too.
Yeah, I'm one of them. So I know. What you got next?
And if I had Cam Akers, I'm going to go out there and see who stole Cam Akers points.
Right.
I've got Josh Kelly, who had 15.1 points, 91 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. He had the same amount of carries as Eckler, who got 16 points.
Yeah.
So I think if you're desperate, I think he's a start now.
You meant 16 carries, right?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
16 carries.
Yeah.
I think he's a start now. He is rostered in 11% or less in leagues. And I would maybe do fab 5 to 10%. Just depends on how desperate you are.
Is he start now, you think? Stash?
Start now. I
Start
said
now.
he's a start now.
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry.
He's a start now. You're not listening to me.
I was partially listening, and I was typing in the chat, who's your top waiver target? So, chat, go away, and I mean, don't
Let's
go
talk
away.
about this.
But yeah, tell us who your top target is. I got Roshan Johnson. Now, I was not a believer in Roshan Johnson being fantasy relevant this year. I'm still not 100%, but if you think the Bears are going to be behind, he seems to be their pass catching back option. He had 14.5 fantasy points. That's on 20 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown on 5 carries, 6 receptions for 35 yards. He was targeted 7 times. So again, if you think the Bears are going to be behind in a game, you're going to want to start him. If you don't think they're going to be behind, it's going to be, I think, Khalil Herbert and Donta Foreman running the ball. So then you would want to stash him. So when they play the Bucks, I would stash him because we're going to cream the Bucks in a bounce back game.
We're supposed to cream the Packers, Justin.
Right. Yeah, we were supposed to, but the best laid plans of mice and men. Rostered in 30% or less of sleeper. She's determined to make sure I remember what ruined my weekend. I would go 5 to 10 in a keeper league, maybe 10, 15%. I do think he ends up being the future of that backfield. He did look good. He looked good. And then Cody said Gus Bus and Justice Hill, they're on our honorable mentions. My concern there is that becomes a running back by committee with Gus, Hill, and
Melvin.
Gordon. Yeah, Melvin. Who I do think is cooked, but I think they're going to try to get him the ball anyways because he's that veteran and whatnot. If I had to pick one, I would pick Gus. I'm a Gus Edwards fan. I drafted him as a handcuff to J.K. Dobbins, but I've also played this song before.
I know. It was like the Gus Bus.
You
tour.
You drive on the Gus Bus, you get on there and you're excited, and he disappoints or he gets injured, unfortunately. So
I'm off the bus.
I'm concerned with a full workload of the Gus Bus. And also Danny says, whoa, no one needs to cream anyone. So anyways, should we talk about wide receivers?
Yes, let's do that.
And RD remembers draft day. I remember draft day. So for receivers, I want to point out Puka Nacua of the Rams.
Puka Nacua.
If he stays fantasy relevant as much as he was after week 1, when Cooper Kupp comes back, I don't know. But I still think he's going to be fantasy relevant. He had 16.9 fantasy points, 10 catches on 15 targets, 119 yards. For me, he's a pickup and plug him in. That Rams offense looked good, and Puka and Stafford seem to be, even though Matt is not relating with the young guys, he seemed to relate 15 times, 10 of them they connected with
their
Puka.
coach said that it wasn't an issue on the field.
Well, then his wife needs to keep her yap shut.
I
not
don't
mine, his. You keep talking. 10% or less in rostered in leagues, and I would go 10% fab on him, maybe 15. I think he's going to be good, especially in a keeper league. Do 15.
You're going to spend 10% of your fab on week 1, and
if I need the receiver help, give me Puka all day.
Okay,
give me the Puka, baby.
Enough. You're done. It's done. Let's talk about Kenrick Bourne.
We've hit it big. We've got the spam people.
Oh no, get him out of here.
Yep.
All right. Kenrick Bourne had 21.4 fantasy points. He had 6 catches on 11 targets, 64 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I don't know. He is currently rostered in around 2% of leagues on either platform. So he's barely rostered. What are you thinking, Justin? Pick up and plug in? Borderline stash and see? Like this 21.4 fantasy points, he's going to get attention.
I'm not sure what Danny's laughing at, but she said, bah, ha, ha, ha. I think it's
Puka.
Because I banned. Oh, Puka.
Oh,
I thought it was because I banned that guy. Or
I'm
girl,
still not over
whatever
your
it was.
Puka.
You're not over my Puka. Gosh, it's hard for me to trust that Mac Jones is going to have a receiver that produces this well over and over.
Per Cody, he is.
Yeah, for Cody, he is.
Cody, are you going after Kenrick Bourne?
Otherwise, I think I'm gonna go after Kendrick Bourne. I'm gonna throw some fab out, see if I get him. I'm not gonna go crazy on it.
I'm
but
thinking
I'm gonna stash him on my bench.
If he is somebody, you're gonna stash him. Are you gonna? I don't know. I would maybe go 5% on his stash. If he's if you're feeling more like he's a plug-in right away, you might want to go 10%.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I'm going to fly through this next one because we're hitting the hour mark.
We are
the
hitting
game
it.
has
We haven't even gotten
started.
to whiskey.
I know.
Come on.
Rashid Shaheed, 16.5 points, 5 receptions, 6 targets, 89 yards, 1 touchdown. He's a pickup and plug in. I think Derek Carr loved throwing to
a
this
pickup
guy.
and plug-in.
Yeah, he is a fast player, 13% or less rostered, and I would spend 10% of my fab on him.
All right, moving on.
Yep. Cody says stash him, but don't trust to start week to week. I agree. Nick Fortune says Allen Robinson or Calvin Austin for Steelers for a pickup because of the Johnson injury. I like Allen Robinson. I think he looked decent.
Allen Robinson
is not your lover.
No, he's not.
Is that what you were going to say?
No, he's just been disappointing.
Yeah, let me pull this up real quick, though, because both of them were involved in that game, but Allen Robinson led the team with 5 receptions and 64 yards. Calvin Austin, though, had more receptions, 6, but for 37 yards. So I really don't think you can go wrong either way if you want to pick one of those guys up. I would go after Puka Nacua first or Rashid Shaheed.
Rashid Shaheed is,
but if
I don't want to say too much. Too many people I'm in leagues with, but Rashid Shaheed.
But if you want a replacement on the Steelers for Deontay, I would go Allen Robinson. I think he kind of fits that role a little bit better. Talk about your tight end.
Yes, let's go to tight ends. Hunter Henry. And again, like we're past the Hunter Henry days.
Okay.
Got you 14.1 points on 5 catches with 6 targets, 56 yards, and a touchdown. I think he's might be a pickup and plug in. He is rostered in 7% or less of leagues. I would caution you on your fab because he is not an elite tight end.
He's not a Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce or TJ.
And in that aspect, I don't think he is going to be that important. But I also am hesitant on his week 1 performance being consistent.
See, I think Hunter Henry, he did well in the latter half of the season last year, so I'm confident picking him up and that this might continue. We've heard that a lot at the Fantasy Football Expo too, or not a lot, but several people were very high on Hunter Henry versus his ADP anyways. So I definitely think he's a guy you pick up and feel a little confident until he proves you wrong. Donald Parham, this is like on fab, you can do $0 or 1% of your fab. If you want, but because he's a stash and see if he keeps being a red zone target. But he had 3 catches on 3 targets, 21 yards and a touchdown, 1% or less rostered, had 9.6 points. He's a stash and C for me.
And Sam Laporta, I talked a lot about him preseason. He did get, he only got 6.4 points. For me,
he was reliable though.
He was reliable. He looked good. He had 5 receptions on 5 targets. He had 39 yards. On Sleeper, he is rostered in over 50% of leagues, but on ESPN, he's only rostered in 34%.
Yeah.
So that's why he's on this list. Because across all platforms, he's not rostered over 50. But yeah, he looked reliable. He was on the field a lot. I think he could become a good weapon. I have said this before, like, I don't feel like this is his year. I feel like next year, there's just something about it. I feel like next year is his year.
The thing I liked about him was they even mentioned like how good he was as a run blocker because Iowa tight ends are. If you think Kittle, Hawkinson, those guys, they run block well. That's what Iowa teaches them to do. So he doesn't come off the field much. So he's going to be on that field for running and passing plays. And I think that's important. And yeah, I know my dad was happy that he ended up drafting him in our family league, and he doesn't have to worry about trying to get him on the waiver.
No, but for me, he's a stash and C. Like, I already took him as a flyer where I could, as a stash and C, especially in keeper. If you're in a keeper league and he is available, that is something where I think you should definitely be picking him up. Like, I think you should go after him in a keeper if you are in a keeper league, contract league, whatever it is, because we saw him. He looked good, and I think he has a good future ahead of him.
Yeah, poor Aaron Rodgers was just sacked for a 10-yard loss. My dad pointing out Laporta outscored Kittle. Make sure if you're just listening to us, if you can join us on YouTube, subscribe at Old Irish Fashion Football so you can see our pretty faces. and join the chat. Just wanted to point out real quick, biggest pickups on Sleeper: Justice Hill, 1.1 million pickups; Puka Nakua, 890,000; Kyron Williams, 617,000; Kendrick Bourne, 429,000; and Gus Bus, 386,000. Now, Justice Hill more than Gus because Gus was probably rostered in more leagues, but it's interesting, these leagues that you can pick people up already, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like ours are all locked until after the games are over, but obviously not the case. And these guys are trending up. How about some people that are trending down?
J.K. Dobbins, 461K down.
Which makes sense since he's out for the season.
Deion Jackson was dropped, which to me, that's a little interesting. He was dropped in almost 200,000 leagues. And
breaking news.
What?
Aaron Rodgers injured on the play. I'm already seeing people freak out about their fantasy football teams that he is done for. It must have looked bad. We are not watching the game right now.
Oh my gosh. Well, remember the 65% of games.
Oh yeah.
They need him later on. If he plays 65% or more of the games, they have to pay extra for him. No, they have to give a draft pick, first round draft pick for him.
Well, it goes from a second to a first if he plays more than 65%.
So get him injured early.
Yeah.
Get him out and don't have him play for that 35%, and then they're good.
The other thing, I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I gave out that underdog thing. He hadn't even thrown for over a half a yard. So if he doesn't
that's
come
the
back,
real thing. No, that's another thing too. Oh, people are getting him on the half a yard. Get him out of the game. Oh my god.
Anyways, who are the other three that were dropped?
Okay. Did I already say Deion Jackson?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, which I find weird because of the Evan Hull situation. Isaiah Likely was dropped in almost 150,000 leagues. Van Jefferson was dropped. Sky Moore was dropped. Sky Moore, that's a reaction. That's a little reactive.
Yep. Rodgers is hurt. We're not celebrating that.
No.
But let's get to our whiskey.
Let's get to whiskey. How did you like your old fashioned?
It was very good. Yeah.
Was it?
A little sweet.
I
didn't want to compliment you too much with that look you were giving me. No, damn good.
I like when I make our old fashions. I haven't made our old fashions.
You don't like
in a while.
when I make them, huh?
The consistency is inconsistent.
Because I like to experiment.
I do too.
I'm a wild card.
I'm a wild card too. What do you think? Well,
anyways, let's talk about the whiskey.
Okay, let's get into this.
Bottle.
Beautiful bottle.
Which drew you to this.
Drew me to it. I saw it on the shelf the first time I saw it. But it just got my attention, and I'm excited that we have it. Yeah. So Willett Distilling, I guess distilling in general has been in the Willett family since the mid 1800s with generations. Yeah, you should be sniffing. Do your little sniffer. Yeah. Like I said, distilling has been in the Willett family since the mid 1800s with generations of master distillers. The distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky broke ground in 1936 on the family farm, just 3 years after the repeal of Prohibition. Did you have something to say?
Bottle looks like a pot still. We'll get to that.
We're going to get to that. Yes. In the 1940s, the distillery introduced Old Bardstown Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Then in 1964, they received a gold medal for Old Bardstown. And this was also the same year that Congress named bourbon America's native spirit.
Which is fitting during the National Bourbon Heritage Month.
Yes.
That we are in.
Yes. So this particular, let me have the bottle. I need the bottle when I talk about it.
The bottle.
This particular bourbon, their pot still reserve bourbon, is in their signature pot still shaped bottle. This came out in not this particular bottle, but they started making this in 2008. And the bottle was architecturally designed using blueprints, Jesus, blueprints of their original pot still.
Yes.
So
So that's why it
It's
does
the
look
pot
like
still.
the pot still. Yeah.
I love this bottle. You know, I love unique bottles for
Let's not
whiskey.
hit your mic
I
there.
know, I hit it. And I love the stopper on this.
Yeah.
This is the bottle that had that stopper, Justin.
Oh,
This is Haley and I's
yes,
stopper.
yes. Miranda and her friend Haley were rubbing this stopper.
It is very
and Josh and I were like,
it's
"What's
very
going on
smooth.
over there?"
It's a very
high quality wood.
high quality wood.
Everybody loves a little high quality wood. Yeah.
So anyway,
You can visit them in Bardstown.
you can, as of 2011, which was so long ago already, over 20 years ago, is when they started opening their visitor center for touring the historical property.
You've had a long day, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
It's been a day, guys. I'm so sorry.
I say that because you just said 2011 was over 20 years ago. And by the way I do my math, it was about 12, but it's okay.
2001 was over 20 years ago. That's what I saw when I said 2011. They did start tours in 2011. I'm doing great, guys.
I'm doing great. It's all good. So I smell, literally, I feel like it's buttered popcorn. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just getting caramel.
You shouldn't have said that to me yet.
Because you smell it. Sorry. But
Buttered caramel.
Buttered caramel.
Yeah.
Buttered popcorn for me. You're putting butter on your caramel for some reason.
Caramel and butter.
And it tastes sweet, and it's got a nice caramely.
Yeah, I think that's why the old fashioned. I didn't like overly.
That's probably
sweeten
is
these.
why it was. Yeah, that is probably why it was sweet. I didn't mind it in the old fashioned. It's just it's sweet enough that I prefer it on its own. So what do you get from it?
Yeah, I almost
Caramel?
as I made this old. Yeah, caramel. But as I made the old fashioned today, I like this bottle belongs in my office with my premium whiskeys just because I love this. I love Willett bourbon. I liked the bottle first, tried the bourbon, and it did not disappoint me. I really like this bourbon.
Belongs with your premium whiskey, but it was the exception of that's not going in the premium whiskey handshakes that we gave out, which we need to make sure we ship. But anyways.
Yeah, it could. I don't know. What did I say? Was it? No, I said Voyage 23 was.
Oh, that's right.
That was the exception.
Willett's going in it.
Willett was going in that. I was
right.
like, what are you talking about? You can't get Voyage. I haven't seen Voyage 23 on shelves in a while. Yeah.
And you only have like 3 of them stashed or something. I got a small pour because Miranda did the pours, but it's very good.
No, I was saying, as I was making the old fashioned, I felt like I was doing something horrible putting this in a mixed drink.
Yeah, no, it was fine in the old fashioned, but it makes it a little sweet for my liking. But yeah, you want this on its own.
Yeah, it is so good. It's really good in the old fashioned. That old fashioned was good.
Yeah, just a little sweet for me. I like whiskey that pops or stands out a little bit more.
I made it with organic brown sugar cubes.
Yep.
A brown sugar cube.
Mm-hmm.
And just Angostura.
Angostura.
I always say Sutra.
2011
Angostura.
was 20 years ago.
Bitters, an orange slice, and that's all we needed.
Yeah.
Kept it a little simple.
Keep it simple, stupid. That's what you would tell me anyways.
This is very smooth.
Yeah. What do you get from it?
I told you. Maybe I didn't tell you.
You didn't.
Caramel. I said caramel.
Yeah, caramel.
There's some caramel there.
Slight oak. Not much.
And corn.
Mm-hmm.
I get that corn taste.
Yeah, sweet corn. A little bit like just a sweet
It is a
corn
sweet
taste.
bourbon. I don't know why it's such a sweet bourbon, but it has that sweet taste to it. Maybe it's because we've been drinking our old fashions with it.
Could be. Looking at a foot or leg injury for Rodgers. We'll try to keep you updated on that. Of course, check back on Thursday at what time are we doing Thursday? Because we are moving the time just
we
for
have
this
a scheduling
week.
Conflict this week. Noon Central.
You wanna do noon?
Noon
All
Central.
Right, 12 Central Thursday.
No, wait. Yeah, noon Central.
Or 1.
Noon for sure.
Noon. Okay, 12 Central on Thursday. We're going to be doing our start sits and answering any questions if anybody is around at that time. So we got a comment here. You're thinking Kama Sutra. Sorry, I switched over to that slowly.
Who said I'm thinking Kama Sutra?
My father.
How dare you?
How about a bit of how's your father?
No.
If you know what that means, post it in the chat. Should we get to the mailroom?
We should.
Mail time. Mail time. Mail time. Mail time. Mail time.
The mail's here. Here's the mail that never
That's
right.
got to be the mailroom opener for now. I like it. You went through an entire year of mailroom auditions for me, and we could not. None of them hit like
My
that.
other idea was I will dress up like the Blues Clues guy and I will dance and do the song. It'll just be a video of that. Now that I said that, though, that's going to get the votes. First question from our buddy Cody Zeeb. Should he trade Tua now, or is he the real deal, and is Tyreek human? You want to lead it off? Or you
Tyreek
want me
is
to?
not human. He
Agreed.
is a beast. Here's my thoughts on Tua. I think he is the real deal. I think, unfortunately, it's a gamble every week because it's his health scare. Like, it's a risk, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Quarterbacks get hit all the time. I don't want that for Tua at all, but I don't think he can take another hit.
Yeah, for me, I'm not going to play to the injury. I'm going to play to the fact that, I mean, the guy took some Krav Maga or judo or something this offseason and allegedly learned how to fall or how to
Mhm.
take a hit. You would think you'd know how to do that being a football player for however many years he's been, but I think if he can stay healthy, he is going to have a really good year with Tyreek Hill,
Absolutely.
Jalen Waddle. I mean,
Yes.
so for me, I would keep him for now.
And it just depends on what you need to. You could probably get a really good deal for him.
Yeah, true.
So depending on
His stock may not be any higher than it is now because he just threw for 466 yards.
yeah.
So,
So this
true.
is like a point for you. Like, depending on your league, I think this is. Do I think Tua is the real deal? Yes. Do I think he's going to continue to do well for fantasy? Yes. But I think based on his week 1 performance, you could get something great out of him right now.
Yeah. Sorry,
Depending on what you need.
not to interrupt you, but we got a question from R. Brown. This is a good one. Would you trade Hurts for Tyreek Hill? I have Tua as my backup. That is tough.
Tyreek Hill is not going to disappoint you. I don't know that Hurts.
Hurts is so solid, but he had such a good year last year. You almost expect a little bit of natural regression. The Eagles have a much harder schedule this year. So
they
there
do
is
have
that.
a harder schedule.
Yeah.
That doesn't always matter
It
because
doesn't. It means he might be passing a lot more.
it doesn't always matter.
But yeah, I like that trade. I think I like stacking Tua and Tyreek. I would check to see who else is out there just in case Tua
Who else
gets
do you
hurt.
have for wide receivers?
I'd
like to know that.
Would you like? Yeah, R. Brown. Who else do you have for wide receivers? Type that in the chat while we answer the next question here. This is from National Topic 1455. Current tight end is Dalton Schultz. He's hitting the panic button here. Sorry, I don't know. Keep him and hope that he improves, or pick up one of the following on waivers: Hunter Henry, Jake Ferguson, Luke Musgrave, Zach Ertz. I'd like to kick this one off if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Zach Ertz, I would not trust a Cardinals player right now. The Jonathan Gannon, their coach, has come out and said that Josh Dobbs is the quarterback for week 2, but he had to come out and say that. That tells you all you need to know about their quarterback play. Luke Musgrave, I know his stats looked pretty decent, but it was one broken play. Other than that, I didn't think he was like super involved in the offense, so I wouldn't trust that. Jake Ferguson did all right with Dallas, but I do worry about that passing game. I would both keep Dalton Schultz and try to get Hunter Henry if you can.
That was my, I think it's too soon to rule Dalton Schultz out, but if you can do a waiver for Hunter Henry and stash and see.
Right.
I think that.
Yeah.
I guess stash either one of them and see.
Yeah. No, I think if you could have them both to see if Schultz doesn't bounce back in that offense, then you can drop him. But I think Hunter Henry for me is a guy that I'm looking to maybe pick up if I need the tight end help. So, no word from R. Brown yet, but I still say I would try to get Tyreek Hill.
I think that would be it's an awesome, as long as Tua stays healthy, that's an awesome stack, and I support it. And I love Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. It's your guy.
Yeah. He's my man.
He's your man.
Jamal Williams is my guy. Tyreek Hill is my man.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
Just if you can subscribe to us, hit that subscribe button.
Smash it.
Follow us on Twitter at oldfashionedfb. Follow us on Instagram at oldfashionedfootballpodcast.
We promise we're gonna get
we're
better about posting.
We're gonna be I can't think of words.
We're gonna flood it with
Yes,
postings.
flood. We are
Yes.
going to be flooding it. We have had so much going on, and Instagram has kind of hit the back burner a little bit, and
Yeah.
I feel horrible for that because we have a lot to be posting.
Yes, and we will get that posted. So
Mhm.
do not worry. Yeah, follow us, subscribe, all that helps. If you want to help support us, you can go to the merch store on Sports Gambling Podcast website and pick up an Old Fashioned Football t-shirt. We're working on getting hats done. I know there has been a couple of requests. So, and I would like one myself, an Old
I would
Fashioned
too. I want to
hat.
I need to be part of those discussions about the hat.
All right. Well, I will let Jake know to
Mhm.
loop you in. And also, if you just want to sports gambling podcast in general, join the Patreon, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon, or sign up for these deals that we're advertising here. That helps a lot, especially the DraftKings one. We're really pushing for that one and the Underdog. If you can do that, you don't have to deposit a lot of money or anything. You just sign up, you use that promo code. And again, on DraftKings, one $5 bet, you get $200 in promo bets, free bets. So that seems worth it to me. I wish I could get that deal, but I've been on DraftKings for a while now, unfortunately. But all that stuff really helps the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you sticking around. I know that the game's going, so if you couldn't, oh, here we go. Sorry, our Brown has Justin Jefferson, Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, Mike Evans, and Rashad Bateman. That's a solid receiving core, but Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
That would be so solid.
In my Pirate League, I'm getting ready to steal Justin Jefferson, and I will have Justin Jefferson and Jalen Waddle, and I feel good about that. I'd feel better about Jefferson and Hill.
Tyreek Hill is a beast. He's not going to disappoint you.
Yep.
I know that Hurts is solid, but I think Tua, as long as he's healthy, is
going to be solid.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I would make the trade. I like the deal for you. It's hard to get rid of Hurts. I understand that, but as long as Tua is healthy and he can keep slinging it to Tyreek, your points are just going to stack so well. So that's what I would do. Anything else over
I have
there?
other questions.
You have other questions?
I just think I'm sorry. I think of questions and questions because we actually have somebody here who could answer. What type of a league are you in? Is it a keeper league? Is it a contract league? Was it an auction league? And how much did you spend?
DM us at Old Fashioned FB on Twitter.
Before we can just say, I would do this.
But
those are things I think about too. They all impact it.
Just face value, I would say do the trade.
Face value. Yes.
How's your whiskey over there?
It is great. It is gone. This was a good whiskey.
Going once, going twice.
Sold.
Old Fashioned Football.